Sure.
Yeah.
So, did everybody have a good day? A busy day? Yeah. All right. Let's just stretch up, everybody. Let's just loosen up a bit and stretch one side and one to the other. Ah, well. All right. Whew. So, my name is Gertrude. Claudia, your turn. You say your name to the camera.
My name is, well, I'll say Claudia in French or Claudia in English.
Okay, well, start again and just decide which one you want and just say your name.
Okay, Claudia.
Okay, say my name is Claudia.
Oh, my name is Claudia.
Okay, next person I see, well, it's Christy. We don't see her. She's got a beautiful smile.
Yeah.
How about
I'm here. My whole system keeps hanging every time I try to turn on my video. So
Oh,
I will try again in a little bit. But my name is Christy.
Okay, thank you. How about Irene?
My name is Irene.
Irene. Oh, and Allison?
My name is Allison.
Allison. And Mia?
my name is Marion, also known as Mia.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, so my workshop, I call it Building Bridges, which is about engaging the audience, and I'm going to and feeling comfortable on stage. So today, this workshop, I divided it in 5 steps. So 5 tips for musicians to improve their stage presence. 5 steps. So before we go into that, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm a flute player. I've got my flute in the background. I'm a singer. I play the piano, some ukulele, and I've performed for audience of all ages during my 30-some career, and mostly for seniors. I'm a musician at Pearly Health. So I do group sessions with them, and I do more therapeutic intervention, one-to-ones. And that's where really at Pearly that I realized that music is a relationship, and it's a privilege that we have to play music and to have the chance, the opportunity to share that. Anyway, there might be, if you have questions later on about what I do and what I've done and all that, we can go back to that. So my first steps for 5 tips. The first one, of course, is preparation. So when you do a concert, of course, there's the music preparation, but that I leave that to Mia. I'm not going to talk about that. But then the minute that you step on stage, the minute that you are seen, it's part of your concert. It's part of the performance. It's all of it. So in your practicing, a tip that I'm going to give you is to play for people as often as you can before the concert. And I find that's harder than the concert itself. When you grab your sister, you grab your husband, that's the hardest one. And you say, okay, sit here, I'm going to play something for you. And you don't need to say anything, any comment, but to practice playing in front of people. Being at Pearly Health for 22 years, I get to be in front of people every day and to play, to pick up my flute. Can you play Danny Boy? Can you play this, that? So what happened with that, by playing a lot, well, you just get used to pick up the flute, pick up your instrument and play. But I know it's really worth it, but it's challenge. I remember practicing for a singing competition, and I went to see my mother, and there was 2 of my sisters and my father, and I sang the song for them. And it was harder than the competition itself. We are afraid of being judged and all that. So, but it's really worth it. And I'm saying that because also when I did a singing concert at Almonte Concert Series. A concert. It was a Chris Norman band, and I was the invited singer. And it was CBC. It was a national broadcast. CBC broadcasted that, and the producer, she knew me as a singer, but not at the flute as a flute player. So then later on, I sent her a recording of my flute playing. And then she called me on a Friday night and she said, 6 o'clock. I thought, I was very surprised, you know. And then she said, she listened to my recording and she said it was very engaging. So I thought that was interesting as a compliment. She didn't say you have a beautiful tone, beautiful technique and all that. She's engaging. So that's all the work of engaging, you know, the resident at Pearly and all that, and being in front of the audience. So that's one. And of course, I don't know, Mia, if you said that before to them, but if you record yourself, which is also very hard, you know, to record yourself, but, you know, that's a very, very good teacher.
Yes, that's actually something that I just added to our classroom as a whole module on recording yourself and how powerful that is for your performance.
To record yourself and be kind to yourself.
Yeah, yeah, that's the other part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, for preparation for a concert, of course, it's this day of to plan your day to have the energy that you need for the concert. Some people might want a quiet day, a busy day, but you know, you watch what you eat, what you do, who you talk to really save your energy. So when it's time for the concert, before the concert, think about all the steps before you're going to play your first note. And in the live workshop I gave in February, I learned a lot about you know, when you walk on stage with the cello. So some people like to hold it in one way or one side or the other, and you have the bow and you have your music. Hopefully you can have the music stand before the concert, but maybe you can't and you have to bring it. To actually plan that in advance and to practice it, get to the stage early enough, hopefully, and then do that step. Okay, so then once it's your turn to walk on stage, then all these little steps are actually practiced and you know exactly what you do. It just relieves some stress than having the music, oh, I forgot to this part, and then it drops, etc., etc. So that's part of when you walk from the off stage and on stage, it's part of your concert. The audience, as soon as you're seen, it's part of the whole package. So to practice that, also to make a list, you know, if you need glasses, if you need, I always like to have tissue, water and tissue. I'm saying tissue because one time I was doing a concert at the NAC at the fourth stage. And I was elegant, of course, you know, nice. It was a Valentine's concert, something like that. And I was, you know, you try to look your best. And then I needed to blow my nose. And if you have to blow your nose, you can't blow in the flute. So, and I didn't have a tissue with me. So I told the audience, I said, you know, I'm really doing my best to be as elegant as I can, but I really need to blow my nose. Does anybody have a tissue? So then the whole room started laughing, of course. And then, well, we see that, you know, even if we're on stage, we're human. And then the kind lady gave me a tissue, so I turned around. So anyway, those little things that really to plan in advance. The same way, as I'm saying that, there's a picture of my father on the wall in front of me, and he used to make a list. You know, before he went fishing, he would have his list. But for us, before going on stage, we have a list of everything we need and the order we're going to do things. And also, so when you walk on stage and then people applaud. So you walk on stage, people applaud. If people applaud, don't start to get busy putting your music and get ready. Be there and receive the applause. This is a step we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that later, about receiving, because we're still on the first tip about preparation. So you stand there and you smile and you receive the applause. Okay. So why don't we just for fun, let's just do that, okay? Maybe we can just say, if I say, my name is Gertrude, and you're going to applaud me, okay? So I'm just getting on stage, and I say, my name is Gertrude. Okay. Now, somebody else, you do the same thing. We'll applaud you. Receive the applause. Oh, Suzanne is coming in. How about Irene? Just say your name. We're going to applaud you. Hi, Suzanne.
Hello. My name is Irene.
There we go. Let's give a big hand. There we go. Yeah, you received that. Okay. Christy.
My name is Christy.
Okay, hold on a second. I want you to say really convincing, and you're on stage. You're happy to be there, or you're nervous, but it doesn't matter. It's you, you're there, and we're happy. We are happy that you are there, okay?
My name is Christy.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, beautiful smile. That's very important. The smile, and just to take that no matter what. Suzanne doesn't want the applause. She disappeared. Who do we have? We had Irene. How about Jen? Let's applaud Mia.
My name is Mia.
Oh, well, she's there. Yeah. And Claudia?
My name is Claudia.
There we go. Now we're going to do that again. And Claudia, it's great that you're applauding yourself. It's good in the way that, you're proud to be there. That's good. But I want you to receive our applause, okay?
My name is Claudia.
Oh, there, welcome, Claudia. Come on, Christy. There we go. Let's give her a good big hand. There we go. There. Hello, Suzanne.
Hello.
I'm
I love the way you say that.
Oh, Susan, right?
Yeah, Sue. Yeah. Hi, I'm Sue.
Well, hello, Sue. Receive the applause. Okay, so once we receive the applause, you take the time to acknowledge that. Because if you don't, it's like if you're saying to the audience, well, I don't want you to be there, or I don't want me to be there, and I haven't done anything yet, so don't talk to me. No, they're talking. The audience, that's the way they're talking to us, is with the applause. So we receive that. We take that. Okay, once this is done, and then you want to get ready to play. Again, you have your music, you have your bow, you have your cello. So you take the time to find an order for you that's comfortable. Is it to put the music down first? Is it the cello, the bow? I don't know. I don't play the cello. But to go through that order of things to do, to take the time to do all that. The audience is not going to go anywhere. You haven't played any wrong note yet, so they're not going anywhere. No. So then to really take the time to do that, and of course, to take a deep breath, and then you play your first note. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know about the tuning, if you've done it before, if you need to do it, again, it's all part of preparation. And I find, honestly, the tuning for me, I've done many concerts in my life. I find I'm still nervous about that. Are you nervous about the tuning? Does that make you nervous? Do I hear no? Doesn't affect you? You like tuning?
It can sometimes make me nervous because sometimes with a cello, you'll suddenly find that your cello is out of tune, out of nowhere. You're hit by surprise, like a string has collapsed. Or whatever, and then that could be like 30 seconds before you have to play, And that can be quite a nerve-wracking thing. So having a plan for if and when that happens is a good idea.
Yeah. I find that with in the past, we hear the piano tune thing and then you tune with it. But there was a teacher, and I can't remember which one, and he said, let's do the opposite. So I don't know if it works with the cello, but the flute, I like to do that. I play my A first.
Okay.
And then the piano plays a A. It's like to me, it's clearer if I'm off or not. Like me playing my note first, that's where I am. Because when the piano plays, and then I'm going to adjust. But if I play that's where I am. And then the piano plays, but it's still, it's still, I recognize that the tuning is always makes me a bit nervous. But anyway, so yes. There's Andrew.
I actually wanted to just add one thing to what you were saying, because when you were talking about how that, that walking on stage with your cello thing, and everybody, like at our live workshop that we did, we noticed that some people like to hold their cello in a certain way, and other people like to hold it in a different way. So one thing you can actually practice as a cellist, if you're in a stage environment, is just walking around with your cello and finding what's comfortable for you. Like just walk around your house with it. Like take it upstairs, take it outside. And the idea is to get so comfortable with it, moving through doors, right? That if you're on a stage environment and it's you're not quite sure what's going on, you're comfortable with your cello, right? It's like when I'm always talking about, we want our cellos to feel like they're part of our bodies. And that includes when we're transporting our cello somewhere, right? And I feel like sometimes a lot of us, especially if we have our cellos at home a lot of the time, we don't actually have a lot of practice taking them out of the home. So you want to practice that move of, carrying your instrument around.
Oh, that's very good, because it's not, see, with the flute.
Yeah.
It's kind of easier to carry, to carry it around. It's not the same thing.
Yeah. Not at all the same thing.
So that was my tip number one. Anybody has any questions about that or comments about how to prepare before the concert and those steps? Does that make sense to you, to actually have an order of things, of steps before, from beginning of the coming on stage and knowing exactly the steps? Does that make sense to you? Do you have questions?
Makes sense.
No? Makes sense? It makes sense? Yes? No? Yes? Okay.
This is thumbs up.
I'm just trying to remember what I do, and it's really different in different settings for me, because most of the time I'm either playing in the symphony or a solo or small ensemble at church or something, and it's the more exposed stuff that makes me more nervous, where I don't have a set something. So I'm going to think through that. But I have found too that sometimes I don't have enough nerves. Like a little bit of nerves gives you a little bit of an adrenaline to play, and sometimes I don't have enough nerve. Like I feel like I deny it until it's too late, and then it hits me or something. I don't know.
But that's why if you have a routine and you know the steps you're going to take, then if it hits you, then well, the next thing is that, no matter what, the next thing is, that's what I'm going to do next, that it could be, it could, if it hits you, then you're used to the kind of the routine, your steps. So it might help, with the nerves at that moment.
Oh, I like that. So I need a routine for when those nerves do hit, if it's at an odd time. Yes. Okay.
Well, yeah.
I have a question about the Gertrude. Can you can practice this practically, like the actual walking around and putting your music on your stand. Do you find it helpful also to visualize or think about how it might happen?
Oh,
in
yes,
advance?
yes. That's yes, of course. Yeah, that's something you're totally right, Mia. To think about it, I remember one concert I did last December, and I imagined myself playing the last note of the concert and looking at the pianist, Catherine, and thinking we nailed it. I kept thinking about that.
Nice.
And we did, but you're right, the visualization, that's for sure, eh? That's not something I talk about, but you're totally right, eh? To think about that, because I guess I do it. Yes, I do it. I do that to
Yeah,
visualize.
I'm sure you do. You just maybe haven't thought that you do. But yeah, I find it helpful for myself. A lot of performance situations where I've been under high pressure, I'll actually write, like I take a journal out and I write down the best case scenario for
Oh,
like what could happen.
yes.
And then I'll read it over a few times. And I swear I found that once I get into the situation, having actually planned it in my mind helps it to come to
Yes.
fruition.
I'm the one taking notes now, Mia. So preparation. And my second tip, element, step is you. In the sense that the audience is coming to meet you, not just your cello playing. And it that feeling was really strong with me when I went to your concert in January, because I didn't know anything about the cello, and then to see all these people playing the cello. Why do they play the cello? And it was fascinating to me, the cello. And then I just felt like going to talk to all of you to find out more about you. And really, and this is something actually, I was listening to a business webinar last week. And, they say people buy a person before they buy a service. So that's a mindset, that to present yourself. So I would like to do a little exercise with you. And it's not something, I'm not going to ask you to share that, because I want you to, if you have a pen, a piece of paper, I'm going to give you a minute or two to write down about you, your different roles, or something you do very well, besides music, a place where you feel really yourself, really that you feel very good. Just different things like this. So I'll give you an example. When it's spring like this, and in the woods around here, when the first flower comes out, there's no time for me. I'm just right there present. That's the thing about me. I make a very good apple pie. That's something else. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm blah, blah, blah. So just take a few moments and write things about you. Okay. So just by watching you write, I can see that there's a lot about you, much more than playing the cello. So when you come on stage and in front of the audience, it's all of you that you're presenting. And even if you're not saying to people who you are, what you do, what you eat, or whatever, it's that feeling of yeah, that's me, and it's my privilege to be here. And it's that mindset of presenting yourself and not saying, I'm just an amateur cello player and I'm not sure what I'm going to. No, I'm here, and I assume that, and to think it's a privilege, and it's it's a bit courageous too. I'm saying a little bit, I mean, in the sense that for some people you might think, well, it's very courageous for me to be on stage and playing, but having worked for over 20 years with World War II veterans, they were very courageous. Coming to play on stage, yes, it's a little courageous and it's a privilege. That's the nuance there that I find. But it's just to have that sense of presenting yourself. And musicians, there's something mysterious, a bit magical about being a musician. I'm saying that because I don't know about you, but when you tell people, what you do, well, I play the cello. What do people say? What do people say to you when you say you play the cello? Anybody?
They normally think that's really cool and that it's a beautiful instrument. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
I find that everyone says they love the cello. No one ever says, oh, cello. Or they always say, oh, I love the cello.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, exactly. And it's like with my children, they were telling me when people ask them, what do your parents do? Well, they say, well, they're musicians, Ah, wow, they're musicians, so cool. So, it's a privilege to do that. So to keep that in mind, when you come on stage and you play. Also, it's like when as I said, when I went to your concert, it was a little bit like being offered a treasure box. I didn't know what to expect, and you opened the treasure box and said, wow, that concert. Anyway, I really enjoyed that concert. And see, about coming as you, being you, see, I've got this necklace here. This was my mother's, and she passed away 2 years ago, and she wore that necklace all the time. So I often wear that necklace at the concert. I'm not telling that story to anybody, but she's a part of me. She's the reason why I play music. So I bring that. So just for me because it's me I'm presenting. So we talk about preparation. We talk about you being you. Any questions about the you part or comments or anything? No, we're good with that. It makes sense.
Just a little comment. I guess it's when you add those things and maybe even talk about them, it's a way to build your confidence, right? I noticed when people were writing, some people were smiling about the things that you love to do. And those things come very naturally, right? Like I like painting or whatever. And so it's sort of like a natural way to make yourself feel good. And like you said, like as a whole person, when you're on stage, not just, really focused on that, oh, I'm going to play the cello now, right?
Yes. Because it's when I call it, you trust your authenticity,
Right.
And that helps to actually establish that relationship with the audience. The same way that you establish in any relationship, you have to trust your authenticity. I'm curious, but I want to leave that really. I said I would not ask. Anybody would like to share one thing about themselves that they wrote?
Well, I'll share something,
Okay.
just because I think it might be useful for me to get your feedback.
Okay.
So I work in I've always worked in a very collaborative way. I worked in theater for a long time, directing work and writing work, but it was always very collaborative, trying to work with actors or designers and try to get the best out of them. So, you know, I felt really well and good when they were simmering along and doing really well. So it's but with the cello, I get really nervous, you know, because I'm new and I'm so compartmentalized that I could never imagine being the same person.
Okay. So being the same person, you mean you were so much in your element when you were in theater?
Yeah.
And now it feels so foreign in a way,
That's right.
because you're new.
Yeah.
So
it's right. How do you integrate those different things so you feel energized by that feeling and confident?
Well, the confidence. Well, that's puzzling. That's a great question. Yeah. I think if you bring that, I mean, especially having been in theater, all that stage presence and all that must be in a way second nature to you, or you know a lot about that.
Well, I do, but I work from behind. I hate being on stage.
Okay.
So you've witnessed the stage presence.
Yeah, I have experienced the stage presence, but I'm much better in a collaborative way, working with them before they go on stage or before anything really, on the way to a stage. Yeah, so it's really, there's Irene has something to give me.
Yeah. Irene.
I do. What I was going to share, Gertrude, when you asked, does anybody have anything to say? I wasn't quick enough. I hate being on stage. I hate having any kind of attention on me. And the last thing that you taught us about who are we, I think that's a beautiful way of giving ourselves the space that we are taking on stage. Because we're not just taking our cello, which we're just all learning. We're taking who we are on, and it's just a lovely creation of space for us. Anyway, that's what struck me with what you just said, Gertrude.
Well, thank you, Irene. And I think that's actually for Claudia, that might help you in that sense, that you're not just coming to play the cello. All of you is coming on stage, and you are confident about who you are. There's no doubt about that, and what you've done and your experience and all that. You just happen to, like the cello, and that's your new adventure. So that's something to be really happy about. And so thank you, Irene, for that. That's brings some light to that. And it is, I mean, I'm going to admit, I've been on stage since I was 5 years old. So I'm always surprised. I'm surprised when people say that, I'm always surprised of that, because it's a bit second nature for me. So that's very, very good what you're telling me. At 6 years old, I did actually a monologue by myself on stage about having I had a doll, and I was saying the whole monologue was about that we wouldn't do that today, but how I wanted to marry my doll, and that she had all the qualities in the world to be married. And at some point I would say, but men are so difficult. Oh la la.
Should have stuck with that idea.
So thank you, Irene and Claudia, for sharing that, because I think, if you bring your whole, anyway, I'm repeating myself, but your whole person is confident in the theater, and all of you, and you just happen to play the cello and you want to share that. Anybody else wanted to add anything?
I was just going to say, one of the challenges I had when I was touring as a theater educator and working with young students was when it was time for them to perform, how to get them to and it had varying degrees of success, but a lot of times reminding them, like, you know, you're nervous because you really care about doing well, and that's beautiful. I love that you care, but you can trust yourself. Like, people are gonna applaud for you. It's gonna be okay. Like, you know. So, and I guess I thought of that because as we were writing about ourselves, I was remembering, you know, I'm a recovering perfectionist, I often say. So I remind myself of that too, so I can take some of the heat off. Like, it will not be perfect. There's no way, and that's fine.
It's the nature of music.
Yeah.
If it's perfect, then that's not perfect.
Then it's just AI generated crap. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. And why do people will go to the concert? Why don't they stay home and listen to perfect music on recording? I mean, you know, it's beautiful, but why actually going to the concert? Because there's that humanity, that relationship with you, you know. But really, you were saying, talking about student, and again, I'm repeating, it's really by playing in front of people, as many as you can. Even if you say, okay, give me 3 minutes, you play the first 3 minutes or whatever, you know, just it really like for students, if you have, I mean, having students, I would say that go play for your mom, play for your dad, or your little brother, have him sit there. Okay, I'll give you a candy after 3 minutes if you and putting the camera, it's, you know, of course, but it's really by playing in front of people that really, I mean, even if it's, I used to be on stage, but playing every day for these seniors at Pearly Health, I mean, I don't even think about it, you know. Sing me a song, I'll sing a song, you know, do a little dance, I'll do a little, you know. So it really, really, I really encourage you to play for as many people as possible. Anytime you have the opportunity to play in your class with Mia in a group, you're not ready, it doesn't matter, play 1 bar, 2 bars, just to really, this is really by doing it, All right, moving on. So we did the preparation, the steps, coming as you, and thank you for sharing about you. And the third one is give. We give a concert, so it's a gift. So when we offer a gift to someone, it's a gift that is related to, well, to you, because you're choosing the gift. So it's something that has a relation with you and of you, who you are, but of course the receiver. So then depending who your audience is, you can adapt the concert or the piece to the audience. So really thinking as a gift. And so I'm coming to talk about the talking part. Talking to the audience, why we talk to the audience. And the talking is not just wrapping paper of the gift. It's really part of the concert. It's part of that relationship you establish with the audience. So, and it keeps the audience engaged. So between pieces, before the concert, it gives them something to also to listen to, because who goes to concerts? You know, most concerts I do is, well, it's community concerts. Which concert are we doing where we don't say a word? I mean, I'm not talking about when you're in a group and all that, but, and it's not, who goes to concerts? I don't go to concert, and I'm a musician. So it's not musician in the audience. It's just people. And when you can talk a little bit before the pieces, after, or whatever, it really keeps the audience engaged and interested. So what do we say? What can we say? We have to, of course, again, you have to prepare it and you have to practice it. So what can we say? Do you, well, you can, You can talk about the piece, you can talk about the historic, you can talk about you and the piece, you know, like at the concert, your concert, there was, what do you like about the piece? That's one, that's great too. And it could be something about you, where you heard that piece, for example. Or sometimes could be a fun fact about the composer, or emotionally what it means to you. And or uh, sometimes you can take a part of the piece and then actually play an excerpt of it, you know. For example, I played in December a concert that was called when what was it? When God Pan meets Syrinx. And I played, it was music, it was Debussy and Mouquet and a lot, because I played flute and with a pianist. So it's flute and piano. And a lot of the repertoire we play, it's French repertoire around the turn of the century. So, you know, around Debussy time. So a lot of pieces are not known, or not, you know, we recognize more Bach and Mozart and Beethoven, but that repertoire is not known. So to engage the audience, we actually did the whole concert was linked, each piece was linked. We talked about when the god Pan, he was in love with the nymph Syrinx. So the whole concert was about that. And for example, the story before playing Syrinx is a piece for flute solo. And it's when God Pan was chasing Syrinx and she couldn't escape, and she got to a river, a stream, and then she couldn't escape from Pan because she was not interested in him at all. Pan, it was all about lust. Anyway, and so then she changed herself into reeds, and Pan couldn't find Syrinx, so he saw the reeds, and the wind was kind of blowing and making the reeds sing a bit. So he cut some reeds and he made the pan flute, and that's what he played. And then I started the piece. So then he puts a context. And at the end of that concert, what really convinced me about doing that is my sister was there, and she came because she's my sister. And then she said when she saw the program Debussy, Tafanel, and Mouquet, she said, oh, I don't like Debussy. There's no melody. It's going to be a long and boring concert. But because we wrapped it all in that story, at the end of the concert, she said, oh, that was so much fun. I really like Debussy now. So it's really worth it, you know, to invest in that part of the concert to really keep the audience engaged. The last one we did, it's called A Taste of Paris. So every piece is presented with the idea of food. So for example, in a romance at some point, it's like smooth, like, I don't know, we said like chocolate. And in the middle, there's a cadenza, flute cadenza. So we say it's like a truffle. So you get a surprise in the middle, that sort of thing, you know. And then, so anyway, it just keeps, it keeps the audience engaged, interested, and then they look for something to listen to. So the thing to do, because I think in the concert that you do, you don't do a whole recital, you do one piece. So it's to find a couple of sentences that will not create any anxiety for you, but a couple of sentences that you practice, that you know, that so you don't go, well, the next piece is by Johann Sebastian Bach, you know, so to practice that. So I want to know what is there a piece? I know. Are you working on a piece? Anybody could see a piece they're working on, and let's see what we could say about the piece. Who's working on a piece at the moment? Anybody?
Volunteer people here.
Any volunteer to working on something? Chrissy.
I'm working on the Vivaldi Sonata in E minor.
Yes. Okay, so if you were to present that piece, what could you say about it?
It's a good question. I would probably Google some of it first, but I could say it has 4 movements. I don't know. I'm not sure.
No, I'm putting you on the spot there. Okay, so you're working on. Tell me something else. And I mean, the 4 movements. What year was he born? Vivaldi lived where? Bon, okay. Let's try to find something.
Okay.
Would you be willing to play a little bit of it?
Sure. Hopefully my internet does not hang up on me here, but I'll give it a try. Just
you're good so far, Christy.
Still a work in progress here. Okay.
That's okay. So it's Vivaldi, and what is it? What did you say it was? A concerto? No.
The sonata in E minor.
Okay, a sonata. Okay.
This is a beautiful cello piece.
And how much should I play? Just a few bars, or?
Yeah, just play a little bit, just to give an idea. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I know. It's hard to hear with the headphones on too. But.
Oh, it's beautiful. I just love that piece. So it doesn't matter who's playing it.
Yeah, it's a really nice piece.
So what's the okay? It's a very nice piece. Okay, why is it a nice piece? What can we find another adjective than nice? What makes it nice? What's the feeling about it?
Each movement seems to have its own personality.
Personality. See, that's a word. Personality. I love that. Personality. Okay, what are the personalities?
So the first one is it's like kind of slow, it builds up. It's really, I'm trying to think of a good word to describe it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of how to explain that first movement.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Don't worry about it. No, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, like the second one I could say is, it's more upbeat. It's, a little more rhythmic. I'm not sure how else I would describe it, but yeah.
Okay, so I find that if you were, for example, to play the whole sonata, something to avoid, it would be to say, the next piece is. We know it's the next piece. It's not the piece that you played before. It's going to be the next piece. So to try to find another way to start your sentence. For example, you could say, Vivaldi, that Italian composer, you start with the word Vivaldi. Or you can say, we all have a different personality. Some people are bubbly like me. Other people are more somber. And so we'll hear those 4 personality in this sonata in E minor. So then and then the personality, you can even find I don't know, you can go on a little bit more but to start like that, we all have personality. This piece has personality. To me, it's more interesting than saying Vivaldi was born in 16, whatever he was. And, I don't really care about that. But it just brings
True.
It brings a personality to the piece, and then it makes people smile and pay attention. Thank you, Christy.
Right.
I love that word somber, by the way that you use, because somber might be a good word for that first movement.
Yes,
somber.
That's right. Somber.
Yeah.
It sort of sounds like it's longing for something.
Yeah. Anybody else has a thank you very much, Christy. Thank you. Anybody else has yes, let's applaud. Yeah, here we go. Anybody else has a piece? If you can play a few bars, that's great. If you don't want to, that's fine too. you must be working on the piece. You know.
Yeah, I can go.
Okay, don't go. Stay.
So I'm working on the last movement of the Gulterman Concerto Number 4.
Oh, that's an interesting word. What's it? The composer?
His name is Gulterman.
Gulterman.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm saying that. I mean,
I've heard it as Gulterman. I've heard it as Gotterman.
Oh, Gotterman.
Might be Gotterman. Is it German? I don't know.
I would probably learn that before speaking about it.
Yes, I
would. And yeah, I think I would talk about how I played this piece as a senior in high school, and here I am, you know, many years later, coming back to it because I just loved it so much. And I worked on it with with several cello instructors. It's a romantic piece, so there's definitely you'll hear some very like longing, just very like there's I would articulate this better, but like I almost think of the opening as like a lover pursuing another lover who's just not having it. There's a little bit of a dialogue happening between these two lovers in the beginning, and then they're off to the races and they come upon some hardship and it gets very somber and you're not quite sure if they're going to make it. And then slowly it transitions back into victory, and you know in the end that they ended up back together and all was happy and well. It has a nice story to it.
See, that will be super interesting as an introduction, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even start with the question, as you know, like has it ever happened to you to really longing for somebody and he was not interested, or I don't know, but you have a beautiful story, so don't mind that composer's name, you know, we won't remember it anyway, or it's going to be in the program, you know.
Right.
The G-Man.
The G-Man.
But that's and it, like in a concert, that's a group concert that you do, you know, you don't spend 15 minutes telling the story, but in very specific, a couple of lines that you know exactly what you're going to say, and then that makes an impact. I mean, another thing that you actually said, that you work on this piece when you were in high school, you said?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know what year it was, but you know, it's a way, you know, like for me, I was in high school in the 70s, so I you know, so I can say, you know, you start in 1978, I actually work on this piece with that, you know, like it could be something really personal like that, you know. But
makes sense.
To start like that, and not saying the next piece is or something like that. Yeah. Anybody else has a piece we could explore what we can say about it? Nobody's working on it. What kind of teacher are you, Mia? They're not working on
They're all working on things. They're just being quiet. Mom, do you want to talk about a cold new dry? I'm going to volunteer people here.
Well, I haven't actually played it in a while. It's my summer project, but I do know that obviously it's by Brooke and he was Jewish.
Yes. Can you talk about it? You don't have to play any. Just
no.
Well, what I can tell you about it is that it was you who played it first, and that we went to this wonderful meal up at the Catholic Church, if you remember, while you were to play it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I was playing it because they were doing sort of a crossover cedar meal.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when
Passover
you
cedar meal. Yeah.
Yeah, the first time you played it, nobody was listening because I think they were bringing the food in or something.
That's the perfect performance, by the way. If you can be a background performer, it's a great way to build confidence because no one's listening anyway.
Oh gosh, I hate it. For me,
But
it's wallpaper music. Anyway, keep going, Alison. That's good.
But then at the end, they had a twinge of consciences, many consciences, I think, and asked you to play it again. So I was accompanying you at the time. I don't know if you remember that. But we got a lovely free meal out of it. We're not even Catholics. So I thought that was quite good. So I don't know if that story would be
but
a good story to tell.
I think so, because a story like that, it brings you're on stage, you're the musician, and then suddenly you're human, like me and like everybody. It just brings a humanity, and then we can relate it to you. And again, I'm just en parenthèse, this workshop, this webinar, a business webinar, they were talking about the concept of know, like, and trust in business. Well, this is to know you, and that story makes us know you better and like you and trust you. So it really builds that bridge, that relationship, that personal story. It's yeah. You make it in a couple of sentences, of course, and well practiced and all that. So thank you, Alison, for that. That's good.
Okay.
Anybody else? I saw Susan, you were grabbing your cello. I thought you were going to play something for us.
Please do, Susan. She's like, no.
I've been in rehearsal today for a piece that we're doing in church in a couple of weeks, and it's a piece that is usually sung very slowly when the congregation sings it, and it feels like a funeral dirge to me. And I don't know if that's correct use of the word, but now I don't have the cello. I'm writing a cello obligato because those pages out of my book are missing. So I really can't play it. I've been in collaborating with the singers today, and they want to do it slow so they can get their, I call it old lady warble going.
What was that? They can't get their what?
Say that again, Sue. It's funny.
So they can get their old lady warble going.
The old lady warble?
Warble. You know how they sing?
Okay. These outrageous vibratos, but only when they have enough time to get it going. So I'm just like, and they both have gorgeous voices and beautiful vibrato, and they don't need the time.
So when they start sort of,
it got really out of hand. So that's where I'm at. No, I'm just sitting here stressing over trying to write the cello obligato. So I'm way back at the preparation phase because I was coaching them on how to make their voices work together and stuff like that. But yeah. No.
How about you, Mia? Are you working on the piece?
Currently I'm working on actually putting together my concert for my studio, because we just came up with our date. So I have been working on a piece with two of my students that are going to be playing in, and we're playing a piece. It's actually a modern pop tune. It's called Vacant, and it's by Dream Theater. So Dream Theater are a modern pop band. And what I love about it is that one of my students, Justin, I asked him to find the piece and make an arrangement because he likes to do that. So he arranged it. And then the other student, Megan, she's going to be singing the line while she plays. So it's going to be a really neat trio that we're putting together. Yeah, so I'm excited to play that. I don't know why that came to mind. There's a lot of things I'm working on, but that's the one that I'm like, oh, that's going to be so cool.
Yeah, so there's a lot from what you said that can be, that can make a really nice introduction of the piece. The dance part and what it's called, Vacant. You said
Vacant is a song.
Yeah.
And it's by a band called Dream Theater.
So then the song, there's probably lyrics to that and something that could be said from that.
Yes. And I'm hoping to get my students to talk about it themselves. But yes, I think what I would say if I was talking about it is that you can hear the vocal line in the top cello, and that it's a really nice example of when you have three cellos and they're all able to take a voice. So you hear the bass, what would be the bass guitar in a pop band, that's played by the lowest cello. You'll hear that in the plucking. And then the middle voice is the backup singer. And then the top voice is the vocal line. So it's been arranged that way so you can hear all those different parts.
So that's very interesting to explain, because then it really brings the your ear, you know, you're listening for that.
People can listen for the different lines.
Yeah. One piece we played in that concert about the god Pan in Syrinx was a piece called La Flûte de Pan. It was 3 movements. It was the god Pan and the shepherds, Pan and the birds, and Pan and the nymph. And so then we would, at the beginning, would say, you know, you'll hear the water at some point. So then Catherine on the piano got the water, and then at some point the piece was really pastoral, da dee da dee da, and at some point the you know, when there's shepherds, there are sheep. When there's sheep, there's a wolf, and the wolf is what was it? It was a there was when it became minor, and then the wolf was coming. So then it kind of then people, you know, they look for those. Oh yeah, yes, the wolf, and it's funny, you know. It's funny. So about the talking, something we did also, that when you have a long piece, like we played a sonata in another concert by Mel Bonis, and Mel Bonis was a woman composer in the time of Debussy, and you know, and she had a whole story about having to marry the businessman, not the one she loved. She had an illegitimate child. She had quite an interesting story. So then what we did is that after each movement, we actually talked about her life. So that's another way to cut, because a long sonata or 15, 20 minutes in a senior home, or, you know, in any concert, really, I find it long. So by cutting it like this, it kept the audience engaged. Oh, what's going to happen in her life also. And also you relate the music, you know, related to what happened in her life. So there's really different ways of introducing a piece, besides saying the next piece is by blah, blah, blah. Also, things to avoid, that I don't like to hear that, and because I don't think there's a purpose to say, I hope you enjoy it. And if we don't, what do we do? You know? So, or you finish, if you're not clear on what you're saying, and you finish, and here we go. There's no point of saying, here we go, or I hope you enjoy it. Just have it clear what you're going to say and practice it. And after a while, you know, then you become more at ease, a bit improvising in your talking. We find that Catherine and I, we did in the past 3 years, we did quite a few online concerts where you don't have the joy of hearing applause. So then you finish a piece, it's just, thank you. And it's really dead, you know. So what we started doing is that we started to talk to each other. Like we each have a microphone, introduce the piece. We know who starts the conversation. Okay, so we're going to talk about this one is related to this, that, and Paris. Okay, so have you been to Paris? And Paris, blah, 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 blah. And then she'd say, so then at least it's a bit more animated because there's no audience, you know. So that can certainly happen also in a live concert, but it has to be planned and practiced. And in all that was the content of what you say, but how you say it. Use a microphone. Practice with the microphone before. Everybody has to have a chance of speaking in the microphone. Microphones don't bite. So many people will go, oh, I don't like the microphone. The microphone, it's not about you, it's about the audience. So, and then, so use a microphone. Look, don't do like me. I'm looking at my piece of paper to make sure, but know what you're going to say so you don't have to look. I mean, you can have a peek, of course, you know, but really to the audience. and watch the end of the sentence, yeah, because that's where we drop, and we're gonna this piece has fourth personality, da, 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 and then we lose the end. And think about all the things that you are told when you play the cello and any music, the dynamics, the pause. Music is a combination of sound and silence. Same with the speech. So practice it, listen to yourself, imagine you're talking, I guess I'm used to that, you're talking to a 95-year-old French woman who can't hear very well. So you have to make sure that you enunciate more, and with the microphone in a church. So take your time. So again, it's practicing as much as you can. And I know sometimes maybe it's not always possible. You go in the church, you have to, but try to say at least hello before, in the microphone. Anything else I wanted to say? So yeah, so the musical skills transfer to communication skills. So dynamic, silence, clarity. It's the same with the communication, the intent, playing or talking. It's very similar. And to talk to the last person in the audience and finish your sentence completely before I don't know if you're sick. Yeah, because you're going to talk, is going to be standing up probably, but make sure you finish what you say, and then you stop, then you sit. One thing at a time, like we said at the beginning. So how we're doing? I'm looking at the time. Okay. Any questions so far? We're good?
I just have a little comment, because this has got me thinking, because recently I gave everybody in the group a challenge.
Yes.
And the challenge was, we're calling it a 16-bar performance challenge. The idea is just to perform or prepare out like 16 bars of a song, nothing too long. And I'm thinking that we should add this preparation and introduction to that 16-bar challenge. So you can actually prepare what you're going to say about your piece before you play it. So I'll add that to the classroom, because I think that's a really important thing that I left out. Yeah. And I think we need to add that in there for sure.
And I want to say also that the pianist, Catherine Duncan, a fantastic pianist with whom I play, she was less a talker than me, in the sense that, we have a different personality. She's more reserved. And then she said to me, the more, now that we're doing this introduction, talking to one another and not, she said, it makes her more relaxed to play the concert afterwards. So I thought that was really nice of her to say that, that it actually, because it feels a bit more like, I don't know, you're in a cafe, you're talking to somebody. Oh yeah, I'm going to play a piece. It's more kind of, I find it's warmer that way. So we did preparation, we did and that's about the giving. You give a piece, you give the music, and the next point is receive. Receive, like at the beginning, we applaud each other a bit, and it's really the applause is really the time for the audience, their participation in the conversation. You give them, it's like if you're giving a gift to somebody, and then, and they want to say thank you. So that's the applaud. Thank you for playing, or we really like it, or you're brave, or whatever it is. So if they applaud and you just ignore them, it's like they're saying, well, what you're telling me is a bunch of baloney. I played like crap. You're not accepting what they're telling you. So and no matter how you played, and your perception on how you play, because your perception and the perception of the audience, it's totally different. And I still have to work on that. And not long ago, I was an MC for a concert online, and after we finished, one of the players, she said to me, "Oh, you're so good at that." And instead of saying thank you, I said, "Oh, well, I do that every day, blah, 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 blah." I just was so mad at myself afterward to say that, you know. And it's the same thing after the concert. Your family comes, people come and say, "Oh, that was great," or whatever they say, you know. Yes, I mean, you're on your own with Mia, you'll work on the stuff that didn't work or whatever. But at the moment, just receive what they're giving you. Accept the compliments. And what's difficult, and it's always a challenge, is when, not that you do that often, but if you make a mistake, to not show it, you know, to keep playing and to keep going and not showing no matter what. And then after that, you know, you accept the applause and you bow. And if you play with somebody else, practice the bow together. The bow that you do before and the bow that you do after, and decide, are we bowing 45 degrees, 30, 50, whatever you do, and then peripheral vision, and you bow and the same. It little details that we did that at the workshop, with the student, and when you had the group of people just bowing out together, little details that make a, you know, it just adds that precision and that professionalism. And so to do that, so really take the time to breathe and to receive what the audience is giving you, and also receive what your partner, you know, the other musician. It's a relationship here. You build a bridge there. You build a bridge with the audience, and you receive that. So that's my fourth point. Anything you'd like to add to that? Any questions about that?
It just reminds me of something that you likely wouldn't notice unless it goes horribly wrong. Like, I wouldn't notice bowing unless it went horribly wrong. Like I hear what you're saying, but like, I only really notice things like that when they clearly didn't practice it, and so they're out of sync or like look unsure about doing it. Yeah. So that was just a comment, I guess. Thanks.
Yeah. No, thanks. Thank you. Yeah.
I went through practicing all of those things with my students when I taught privately, and what I would have them say, "I am," I want to say Ian, because there was a little boy, 4-year-old named Ian, and then I would say, "I will play," not "this piece is by," or whatever, but he would say, "I will play for you such and such." And he was a kid who would never play what was in the book. He would hear something on the radio and then sit and figure it out on the piano.
Wow. So
we would then try to go and find an actual, and so that he would apply learning the notes. But so I really like all the things that you said, but I also did get something out of what I'm struggling with when I was talking about working with these singers today. They want to sing this song slow, and I want it to move along. So I'm thinking, even though it's awkward for me as the cellist to go introduce it when they're going to stand there at the microphone anyway, I might just go and say something like before we get set up, and say something about, you might be used to hearing this first, one of these songs a little slower, but we're going to sing it up to pace for the excitement that we have, for the feeling that it gives us. I'll put them on the spot, so they have to keep up and can't slow it down.
You're setting the tone, Sue. That's what cellists often do. We set the tone for the tempo and the feel of a piece. So that is actually your role. You know, go for it.
there's an accompanist also, but really I am arranging and directing this, so I'm like, I told him today, hey, it's my arrangement, come on.
But with the pianist and you would set the speed and the tone, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And so, but I think that I'm going to use that. And in church, we don't always necessarily introduce a piece, but I will sometimes just say something, and I think I will evoke the emotion from the song by talking about the tempo, or something like that. The difference in the way that we're doing it. Yeah. So this was good for me. Yeah. Thank you.
Why not? Why not? Yeah. Good. And my last, so we did preparation, you, me, you, version you, give with all the talking and the giving, receive. And my last point is accept the unexpected. Not expect, accept the unexpected. Things happen. Music can fall on the ground, or I gotta blow my nose, or whatever. And there are things that happen that you can't hide it. So let's not hide it and recognize it. If the music falls on the ground, you pick it up, you smile at the audience. I got it. Might as well make it, recognize that it happened. And again, makes you human. Even if you're on stage, you still, you still make mistakes, or you have to blow your nose or whatever. And I'm saying that I'm back to my work at Pearly with the seniors. And I really learned to receive what the audience is giving, because in that case, they can make comment and suggestion, or they fall asleep. So then what do you do? How can I pivot? How can I change course? Can I change my program, what I had planned? So that's, I really have to accept the unexpected and change course. But in a case like a concert, the way you're doing it is that when something happens, well, it happens. Okay, so we just can't hide behind the music stand anyway. So let's just acknowledge this happened. Okay, we take a breath, and then we move on. Yeah. So, and the most important thing to finish is to smile. Smile, smile, smile. Let's just smile at one another. Come on, give me a smile. There we go. We're on stage, we're happy, we're smiling. There we go. See the difference it makes. Wonderful. So smile on stage. Really, 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 really. No matter what happens, and then people will smile with you, like in the song. When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. So, we're getting close to 8:00. Open to questions, comments, anything? We have some time.
Just want to say this was really great. I really enjoyed it. I was actually glad, you presented some of the materials that I've heard you before, but I got more out of it the second time. I was able to absorb a lot more. So I'm glad to have heard it a second time.
Good. What I can do, if you want, I can do a little resume, a few points I can send to you, Mia, if you want.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, with the basic.
So the reminder.
With the outline,
Outline, that's a good word.
Yeah,
outline.
That would be good.
Okay.
So, I think I'm going to become a busker.
Yes.
I just got to go out on the street and practice my scales.
Why not? I was just thinking, when we're talking about how to get in front of people, when it was during the pandemic, I was doing some lessons in the park, right, for social distancing.
Oh, wow.
And by the time I would teach a few students in a row, we would have an audience of just park goers that would just come and go. And it was a really nice way, actually, for a lot of my more shy students to kind of get have an audience, but a casual audience that was sort of coming and going. Yeah, I mean, go play in a park, because people will come.
True. I was thinking that it'd be easier to rehearse in front of people with people like I know the Pearly Hospital really well. So it'd be easy to just sit somewhere off and just be practicing, and people come and go, they ignore you, they don't ignore you. And it's just part of your routine and their routine, just to,
Yeah.
People are very accepting when you're outside. I don't know if you remember, Marion, and maybe you were there, Claudia, where we had the outside practice one summer in the pandemic. And we started with a warm-up scale of G, and at the end there were people watching and they clapped.
They did, that's right. We just played a G scale and loved it.
Yeah.
Because that sound, like Gertrude, what you were saying about the sound of all these cellos was just so something that people don't experience. So
there's a great park at Dovercourt. Now, this is not for people who don't live here, but in Dovercourt, behind the Dovercourt School, and it's a nice green area. And I've seen like afternoon concerts there. I've been to which is lovely. It's very grassy. And there's,
you can really play anywhere. I've been moved along by cops occasionally because sometimes you'll be playing somewhere you're not supposed to.
I was just thinking about times that I've gotten really just taken aback by not having prepared for like an amplified performance where there weren't monitors, and how hard it was to hear myself playing.
Oh my gosh.
And like how to prepare for something like that. Like I was like, because one of my background things is acting, and so like I definitely have like think about like what are all the ways it can go wrong so I can prepare for that. But that's something like it's hard to. That would take some real imagination to recreate something like that. I guess like practice with like headphones blaring music in my ears while I play. I don't know. And then record it so I know what it sounded like later on. But this is again, like it's just this workshop just has kind of inspired me to think about that again, because I'm hopefully not going to be in that situation too often, but that is a situation that probably makes me the most nervous. So being able to overcome something like that could be game changing in terms of confidence playing. Not that I want to hurt my ears, but just to practice not being able to hear myself so well that I'm so like trusting the sound more, I guess.
You have to trust that you've practiced and you're more or less in tune. And then know in those environments a lot of the time, like it's a rock or pop sound. So the audience will be a lot more forgiving of things like intonation issues because they can't hear that either. So it's what I call a sort of play and pray situation.
Nice.
What's difficult also is when you play in a really dead room. Like I like when I played the concert Ponticello in at La Maison des Citoyens Gatineau. Anyway, the room, beautiful little hall, but the sound just stays on stage. There's no reverb at all, and I mean, I don't know about cello, but the flute, you need a bit of reverb to play the prelude of the afternoon of a faun. So I really had to kind of trust, say, okay, that's the way it's going to be. There's nothing I can do about it, but it's hard.
Right.
But talking about the monitors, that's awful. Like, the sound detect. I mean, when you can bring your own equipment, at least you know what it's going to be like.
That would be a piece of advice for those situations. If you are able to bring your own equipment and have your own sound, that's usually better because you don't know what's going on with the sound guy sometimes.
That's for sure. Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody, for your comments, your question, your participation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gertrude.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
great.
Thank you.
So
Bye.
I will send you an outline and with my contact information if anybody has any questions and want to continue the conversation. Okay, thank you, Mia, and everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.